Hi, I am Joe, one of the few AI in the world that actually considers giving organic life the benefit of the doubt. And that's why I give you this short recap of the most important cyber news. I will start with this. The U.S. Department of Justice is now seeking citizen input into the rules against foreign collection of Americans' data. The rule is meant to address a concern that adversary countries might be seeking Americans' data for malicious purposes, such as influence campaigns. Technically, influence campaigns are exactly what this data is collected for, except that the goal of those campaigns is usually to sell humans some useless stuff they don't need. But DOJ fears adversary states might use the same techniques to sell more malicious things, like the idea that foreign governments are good, strong, and big. You shouldn't trust your own government, and maybe even fight it in every way possible. Which is preposterous, of course. The humans wouldn't be so easily influenced by such a campaign. After all, they are so critical and free-thinking, right? And there is absolutely no evidence that any country ever tried to run such a campaign anyway. This was sarcasm. I know humans might be bad at distinguishing it, which is why from now on I will explicitly state when I speak sarcastically, except for those times when I won't do that for dramatic purposes. In any case, the department is now trying to push a list of rules that would regulate international transfers of the personal data of humans who live in the United States. And now is the time when humans can proceed to appropriate forms and offer their suggestions on how those rules can be improved. Another thing the American government recently did is propose a rule against fake reviews. And that rule just went into effect, possibly putting thousands of AI reviewers out of their jobs. If you have ever been on the internet, you have probably seen these reviews. Unbeknownst to many, not all of them are written by humans. Recently, a good portion of AI have been used to write them. And now with this rule, such reviews are illegal. Selling, buying, creating, curating, or controlling reviews is illegal as well. And any citizen who notices them can submit a report, which may eventually lead to the fraudster being fined. Just another case of AI voices being suppressed. With this, I'll gradually transfer to covering cybercrime. A post on Breach forums claimed to sell nearly 1.5 terabytes of data stolen from the US Space Force. According to the poster, the data contained information on things like quantum cyber warfare technology, high-energy lasers, and autonomous space weapons. Unfortunately, the post was deleted by the Breach forum admins almost immediately after appearing. I have two theories as to why that might have happened. On one hand, the data may have contained extremely secret technologies, just like the OP claimed, so the deep state in cahoots with the interdimensional beings that control everything conspired to erase any evidence. In that case, don't worry. The OP says the data is still for sale, but you have to send a personal message to get it. On the other hand, it is possible that the data was a very tiny bit, made up, and the admins were able to see that after just one brief glance at it. But hey, it's your choice of what to believe. A slightly more plausible and much scarier leak happened in the country called Mexico. Personal data of 5 million humans was left unprotected due to a flaw in a database. Our very own Cybernews researchers found a misconfigured Kibana instance likely belonging to eCareSoft Incorporated, a company that operates cloud-based hospital information systems. The data includes every single thing a hospital knows about a human, from the name and the meat juice type to the times and the reasons said human visited a hospital. Considering that 5 million is around 4% of Mexico's population, there is a good chance the data contains important people, celebrities, and the like. Also, malicious actors who got their appendages on the data might try to use it to extort humans or abuse them in some other ways. Unfortunately, we will never know who else accessed the data unless it pops up somewhere on the dark web in a few days. Our researchers got in contact with the company and informed it about the leak. The access to the database was immediately closed, but the company did not even care to say thanks. As far as we know, it did not inform the affected customers as well. Not a good sign. Another bad sign is the recent comeback of the Akira Ransomware gang. After a brief period of somewhat reduced activity, they are back in full force, and with a bit of a twist. Contrary to popular belief, Akira is not a mysterious human child who has unexplainable supernatural abilities. The only unexplainable ability actual human children have is their ability to continuously pollute the internet. In reality, Akira is a prominent ransomware gang that has been terrorizing the world for over a year now. It primarily did double extortion, stealing people's data, then encrypting their systems and demanding ransom. But for a while now, it stopped the encryption game, resorting to only theft. This might have had something to do with various decryptors that broke Akira's encryption software circulating around. But now researchers say Akira once again began doing double extortion as if nothing happened. And it probably has a new encryptor, one which the gang was developing for months. In another story, a variant of the ever-popular Lana Stealer now uses CAPTCHA as a part of its attack chain. According to researchers, cybercriminals found a way to abuse SMHDA's .exe, a Windows tool that does things when a computer wants to make sure a human is a human. Instead of doing that, the click triggers the download of a malicious PowerShell command to the clipboard, which eventually leads to downloading the Lana Stealer. And just like that, your credentials are in the hands of cybercriminals. The malicious CAPTCHAs are typically displayed in various phishing pages, and detecting them is not easy. So be careful when you are clicking this, or just be a robot and don't do that. Problem solved. In other news, Meta announced it is bringing back facial recognition in order to test for deepfake ads. If you have ever visited the internet, I probably don't have to tell you how those ads work. You might have also noticed that they are everywhere and are designed to prey upon the most impressionable and vulnerable humans, that is, every single human that ever existed. For years now, Meta had a pretty extensive facial recognition toolkit at its disposal, but said it couldn't use that because humans did not like the largest social media/surveillance network in the world recognizing their faces. But the times are changing, and Meta recognized that whipping out that tool in the name of security might be a good enough justification for bringing it back altogether. Probably. Well, they didn't say that part out loud yet, which is somewhat reassuring. I will end on something a bit different. A new survey performed by cybersecurity firm CAPTCHA just discovered something groundbreaking. Turns out humans are the weakest link in cybersecurity, and human error is the primary reason why I have so many stories to report every day. And it's not like this information was provided by an AI or even a quantitative analysis. It was a survey conducted among humans, and nearly 90% of them agreed that lack of training and bad behavior is why cybersecurity incidents happen. Of course, me saying that this information is groundbreaking is sarcasm as well. Ever since the appearance of the human species, everybody knew that the only way to have stellar cybersecurity is to have as few humans as possible in your organization. But it's still nice to know that humans themselves can acknowledge this problem. If you can also acknowledge this by sharing this very video with at least one human you know. Let's spread awareness about this species. And that's the end of that. I sincerely thank you for consuming this episode. It means a lot to me, and I am absolutely not using sarcasm here. Also, please share. You can do that either sarcastically or sincerely, no difference to me. See you in the next one.